I think we're good. Welcome to OneEleven. Woo! So let me first start by saying it is amazing to see some really familiar faces in the room. Bringing our community together is just so energizing. I think you guys can all feel the buzz in here, and I hope you're having a great time so far. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda Philippe, and I'm the sponsorship manager here at OneEleven. I actually joined the team only 2 months ago, but I've been working in the startup space for what feels like forever now, and I was really fortunate to start my career in the startup space at a time when Canada was just beginning to embrace entrepreneurship. So it was at a time when we were just starting to really understand how important startups are and how innovation is really key to the future of our country. And I think you'd all agree that over the last decade, our startup culture has matured, it's evolved, and I would say it rivals some of the most mature ecosystems in the world. And I've really enjoyed being a part of that evolution. I think we'll all agree, though, that the next challenge we face is a scale-up challenge. So we must address the unique needs of rapidly scaling companies to ensure that they can mature successfully here in Canada. Agreed? Yes? Thank you. So this is why I'm super pumped to be joining Team OneEleven, because that's what we do. We are specifically focusing on growth stage companies, and I really hope to talk to most of you, if not all of you tonight, about how we can do that together. So let me kick things off by welcoming to the stage two true scale-up champions, Haroon Mirza and Bilal Khan, the managing directors of OneEleven.
Thank you, everybody. I'm having a really hard time calibrating myself to what's going on right now, today and here. The energy, the love, friends, new and old, everyone coming together to really build this innovation ecosystem. We had the Prime Minister here earlier today, and we had this incredible fireside chat where the Prime Minister was talking to startups and engaging with them, connecting with them. We spent an hour talking about some of the really big challenges in this country. We've got the incredible Minister of Economic Development and Trade here, Minister Brad Dogood, and our wonderful mayor, the Mayor of Toronto, Mayor John Tory. But what brings us all here today? What connects us all is the innovation storyline, that innovation narrative. And for us here at OneEleven, it started about 3.5 years ago, where we launched OneEleven with a vision to create a community of the most ambitious entrepreneurs in the country. We started this journey with an idea and 15,000 square feet at the corner of Richmond and York. I still remember walking through that space for the first time, hearing the echoes of my footsteps in that empty space, thinking to myself, how the hell are we going to do this? How are we going to build a community here? How are we going to fill this up? We weren't really sure how we were going to do it or how it was going to happen. But the one thing we were absolutely certain of was the incredible energy and ambition of the Canadian innovation ecosystem. We realize now that what we were witnessing then was the transformation of Canada into Startup North. At OneEleven, we believe that the only way for Canada to be globally competitive in the 21st century knowledge economy is for us to build a vibrant scale-up ecosystem. Our ecosystem has evolved. We have to go beyond helping companies get started and build a network, set of relationships, and the companies to help those companies go global. And we do this by bringing together deep pools of venture capital, academia and the talent that exists in our incredible institutions, bringing the public and private sector closer together, all to support this incredible group of entrepreneurs. We're now ready. I'm actually going to pass this on, sorry. I'm on a roll.
Who here thinks that Bilal upstaged PM Trudeau? I'm just saying, incredible. Thank you. You know, we could never have imagined that our biggest problem would be turning away incredible startups when we were in our last space because we were always full. Turns out that 15,000 square feet wasn't ambitious enough for our community. So today, OneEleven is scaling 15x and officially opening its doors to our 250,000 square foot scale-up innovation hub dedicated to scaling Canada's fastest growing startups. We're building a tightly knit community that focuses on helping our companies compete and win on the global stage. It's been an absolute pleasure to play a small role in the journeys of some of the world's most ambitious entrepreneurs and to watch them turn their vision into reality. Looking at some key metrics, in just 3.5 short years, OneEleven companies have gone on to raise over $150 million in follow-on funding, created over $500 million in equity value, and generated hundreds of net new jobs for the Canadian economy. We are thrilled to have come this far and would like to thank the entire community for your continued support and for helping us get here. Of course, none of this would have been possible without the commitment from our amazing founding partners, our board, our supportive sponsors, and the small but mighty OneEleven team. We're now ready to turn OneEleven into North America's largest scale-up hub and to help create the next generation of Canadian tech titans.
But we're looking into the future now. And the future prosperity of this nation rests squarely on the courage of our entrepreneurs to go against all odds and scale. When I look back over the past few years and think about the impact that we've been able to have, I'm inspired by the collective efforts to build something truly, truly meaningful. But we're only getting started. With our founding partners, in partnership with Oxford, we're building the future right here at Union Park Tech Hub, a 13-acre development all along the south side of Front Street. This is going to be the center point of Canadian innovation in this country, a single massive cluster that brings technology and talent together. If we've come this far in only 3.5 years, you won't want to miss what the next 3 years looks like. Stay tuned and stay close. This is only the beginning.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So I'm just going to ask if those of you who are standing in the side garages, if you can make your way out this way. We have some really fantastic remarks coming up, and we wouldn't want you to miss it. So I would love to welcome to the stage Minister Dugard.
Whoa, that was a great act. You guys are a great team. That was really fun to watch, especially when you started doing Maroons Park. That was good too. I hope you don't step over each other that much in the workplace. I am so thrilled to be here today. What a great vibe in this room. And Bilal, I have to say, Maroon, you're a great guy, and I'd say some nice things about you. You're doing a great job. But I'll leave that for others to say, because Bilal is somebody who I've known for many, many years. And I watched Bilal fall in love with the startup community because we kind of did it together. We went on a trip down to California many, many years ago. Bilal was my senior policy advisor, and we just caught the vibe. We met a lot of Canadians down there. We met a lot of Canadian companies down there, and we just knew that's where our future was. And Bilal, it wasn't long afterwards when John Ruffalo came to my boardroom and started talking about this crazy idea about OMERS getting into venture capital. And I said to him, John, that's a fantastic idea. The province will love you for that, because at that time, it was almost like the province was the only funder left in venture capital. It was just after 2009. It was not a great time to start up a business. But I said to him, your board's never going to let you do something this crazy. And lo and behold, through John, who eventually scooped Bilal from me, started OneEleven. And I want to thank both of you for that, because here we are today. Here we are today in what I think is the hotbed of startups, the hotbed of scale-ups anywhere in North America today. Really is. Give them a round of applause. These guys are champions, absolute champions. You know, unlike those days, John, it feels really good today to be the Minister of Economic Development in this province. You know, we're leading the G7 in growth and have been for the last 3 years. We've created 700,000 net new jobs since the global recession. Our unemployment rate in Ontario is at a 16-year low, going back to 2001. And Mr. Mayor, I look back to 2001, and I remember those were the days when you were making great money as the leader, the CEO of Rogers. I'm sure that your wife Barbara misses those days very much, given your current position. And ironically, Mr. Mayor, those were the days when I was a hardworking City of Toronto councillor from Scarborough, who was very quickly becoming a thorn in the side of the provincial government because they weren't providing us with enough money for housing and shelter. That's a little ironic, Mr. Mayor, isn't it? But it's great to be here. You know, we are in a good place right now as a province. We're in a position of strength. But in today's fast-changing global economy, today's fast-disrupting global economy, just because we're strong today is absolutely no guarantee at all that we'll be strong tomorrow. And that's why we need initiatives like OneEleven. This is where our future is. This is going to ensure that we're developing strengths today in artificial intelligence, in sensor development, in next-generation networks, in bioscience, in all those areas, whether it's robotics, whether it's genomics, all those areas that Ontario, Toronto are leading the world. Our window is very, very short because that world is moving so fast. We've got to help our champions, our startup companies scale so they can become the global leaders of tomorrow. That, as Minister of Economic Development, is my most important job today. It's not just about attracting anchor tenants here. They're important. It's about giving our Ontario companies the opportunity to become those anchor tenants around the world and to become those global leaders in those areas that we're leading the world in. So Bilal, John, and the whole team here at OneEleven, thank you so much for leading the way. Thank you for becoming Canada's largest incubator. Thank you for building the economy of tomorrow, which really is taking place under our generation. Together, we are building an economy that we all together can be proud to pass on to our kids and grandkids. Thank you so much for your great work. Thank you.
And thank you, Minister Dogood, for those incredibly enthusiastic remarks. We truly appreciate your support and your commitment to growing the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Ontario. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage Mayor John Tory.
Well, Minister Brad and John, Bilal, Arun, and one and all the partners of OneEleven, first of all, can I just say congratulations and thank you to all the people that have been involved. I well remember my first visit to OneEleven, and I walked into this place, and I know it was supposed to look this way, but I walked into that very same floor, and I think it was almost as empty as you described, Bilal. And I'm thinking, and Bilal kind of giving me the work up on the way up in the elevator. Oh, this is fantastic. There's going to be more stuff going on here, and companies and jobs. And I walk in, and there's a few people having a drink. It was great, actually, but a few people having a drink. And I thought, well, maybe this is the way it's happening. I didn't know. But, you know, so I walked away thinking, well, you know, good luck to them. And then John and Bilal told me a little while ago about, and I knew about this building, of course. I call it an old sort of RBC barn. And, you know, they're saying, oh, it's going to be full up. It's going to be the biggest incubator in the world and so on. I thought, well, you know, good luck to them. But it's people like this that have a sense of ambition. They have a vision that are making the city today at a moment in time that is absolutely unparalleled, I think, in its history. And Brad, I want to just, before I talk a little about that, I want to just say that that I'm so glad to hear your complete understanding of what it is I'm trying to do on behalf of Toronto right now, because you just acknowledged, and we've got a public record of it, it's on video, that you know it is the role of people elected to office in this city, as you once were, to be a pain in the ass with the other governments, to get the money that is needed for transit and housing. And that's all I'm trying to do. And I know you'll go back to Queen's Park and say tomorrow, you know, I understand what the mayor's doing. I've been there. This is his job. And you'll also say that it's a fundamental part of producing the economic prosperity and the growth and the attraction of investment to Toronto to have proper transit and good housing for the people we need to work in these buildings. So I thank you very much for that understanding. In all seriousness, folks, you know, this is, I'll say this is the home. at this point in time, at a very important moment in time for ambition in this city. This building represents not just the ambition of the people in it, not just the ambition of the people who founded it, it represents the ambition of a whole city. And the city at the moment, at this moment, knows that it is at a moment in time where the world is actually watching us. You know, I've had the chance now to travel a bit as the mayor of the city to try and sell the city. And I know, and this is not a criticism, it's not an admission of failure, it is simply the case that because there's so many other cities that have had much longer to build their reputation, whether you're talking about Hong Kong or Paris or Toronto or London or even New York, that our story in terms of what's going on here hasn't reached the ears and the eyes of people in many other parts of the world. But what they do know about this place is that it is full of ambitious people, and they know that they come from all over the world, and they know that it's among the smartest group of people anywhere in the world. They do know that. They know something of the way we live together here. I was talking to somebody last night who's been responsible for the last couple of really big conventions, including the Microsoft convention, when they came to Toronto, and they hire these people to say, plan our program. And when this guy said to them, well, you know, what do you want to go and see in Toronto? What do people want to go and see? The answer, he said, in both of the cases of these huge 25,000 person conventions coming to Toronto was they wanted to see diversity. And they talked about the food, and they wanted to kind of see a place that is like this place is, and how all these people live together here, and how we've got all these smart people that all get educated together and aspire together to do great things in the tech sector and elsewhere. And so they put together a program that featured that. But that's what people do know about the city. And our job now, you know, with the profile of something like OneEleven and the whole Union, is it Union Square concept? Union Park, I'm sorry, I knew Union Square is in New York. Nice cafe if you haven't been there for breakfast. Anyway, no, I digress. But the whole idea is that we've got to go and tell the rest of the story, but we start to have some beacons that we can point to as beacons of that ambition, beacons of that opportunity, places where we know the smartest people in the world are gathered together. And the other thing that's going on is that the smartest people in the world, some of them were already here, and we're too modest about that. And we had to wait, as Canadians usually do, for the people in the rest of the world to say, oh, did you happen to know you have the smartest people when it comes to AI in the whole world there? And did you happen to know you've got one of the best universities, a series of universities, Waterloo, U of T, because we're hiring all the people from outside the country to go there. And then all of a sudden we go, wow, I guess our universities and I guess our AI expertise is really good. And I commend, you know, for all the disagreements that I might have right now, and they're just in a very focused area of need for the city, I commend Premier Kathleen Wynne and Brad Dogood, who's been a fighter on this stuff, for what they stepped up and did on AI, for example. It's fundamentally important. It's fundamentally important to achieving these ambitions. And if you look, it's already having results. There are people who are coming here now. You've seen it written up in the last few days, and they're coming attracted by the fact that they see we have a place of excellence, and we've been prepared to put our money where our mouth is, all the governments, but led by the government of Ontario, and I think that's fundamentally important. And so this too is going to make a contribution to that, and I think that it is going to be something that is going to be allowing us to do what we want to do, which is to achieve our ambitions. And I want to just finish on this note, because I believe as the mayor of the city, our ambitions go beyond what is the obvious. Yes, we want to have jobs that are new jobs created in new businesses that are very much part of tomorrow's jobs. And we have all the right things. We have the educational institutions, the U of T's, the Ryersons, all the colleges. It's fantastic. And people talk about those in other countries. They know those names. And we have the smart people. And we have the diversity. And we have the underpinnings of a great industrial foundation here, which is going to be helped to survive and to thrive by the fact that we also have them side by jowl, cheek by jowl with the innovators. What we need to remember is we're doing this for a reason. We're doing it as a means to an end. We are the most livable, one of the most livable cities in the world. And that is in part because we make sure that we don't forget about people who are struggling a bit. And one of the reasons we want to be prosperous is so that we can create jobs for all of those people and include them all, and so that we can afford to make sure we keep the place livable by investing in people and giving them a hand up when they need it to make sure they too can be part of this great, prosperous, livable city that we have here. So it is a means to an end. It's prosperity in and of itself. It is making sure the city rises up to be what it can be economically, but so that we can also continue to be the source of admiration from around the world. And that's part of what my job is. It's Brad's job. It's everybody's job. This place is going to be fundamental to achieving the next chapter of that. And that's why I'm so proud and excited to be here at the official opening and look forward to many exciting things to come out of this very building and this whole precinct in the months and years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Tory, for your remarks and your commitment to innovation in the city and your support of OneEleven. I think we'd all agree that to create a true scale-up ecosystem, we'll need to bring together both the private and the public sectors, people who are willing to embrace disruption and imagine what could be possible. So I'd like to take a moment to thank our amazing partners for joining the OneEleven community and for sharing our vision. So thank you first and foremost to our founding partners, Omer's Ventures, OCE, and Ryerson. Without these leaders, we would not be here tonight. Can we have a round of applause? And I have to say a thank you to the partners who saw the potential of OneEleven when it was a barren wasteland, apparently. Back in those early days, you've grown with us from 15,000 square feet to 50,000 square feet. Thank you so much to Deloitte and Bennett Jones. And so this space that we're in right now, moving here, would really not have been possible without the support of our committed partners. You're all here tonight. So thank you to Aviva, Fasken Martineau, Rogers, CBRE, and SAP. And I'd like to give a special thank you to one of our newest additions to the community. Thank you, RBC, for your commitment to our mission, and welcome aboard. And last but not least, I'd like to thank our amazing partners at Oxford for seeing the potential in this space, this old RBC data center, and really joining us on this innovative path that we're on. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Michael Turner, Executive Vice President of Oxford Properties Group.
All right, it's hard to follow our dignitaries here after a lot of passion, I heard. If it weren't for Bilal and Haroon, as we heard earlier this evening, if it weren't for their big idea, none of us would be here today. Victor Hugo said, "There is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come." And what we see here and what we're surrounded by is what I call Innovation 1.0. Bilal and his team, they had an idea to found a startup community. Oxford had an idea to support what's next. Our worlds collided, OneEleven was born, and it grew and it grew. So like all fast growth companies, they had to scale up. That's how we find ourselves here, what I call Innovation 2.0. And listening to everybody talk in the room and the vibe here tonight, it's pretty obvious they've tapped into something quite special. This is the heart of the Innovation Hub. This is about creating the jobs and the ideas that will change this city, perhaps even the world. OneEleven's a huge success, and our city and our country, we need more of these. So at Oxford, we're committed to doing more. We're committed to building this community, just like we are in this building, from the ground up. So just imagine for a moment Innovation 3.0. Welcome to what we call the Innovation Hub at Union Park, which will be right here, right where everybody's standing, which is one small part of Oxford's 13-acre site, which runs all the way from past Simcoe, all the way to Blue Jay Way, and will be directly connected into Union Station. The vision is this block will house an even larger OneEleven, in addition to Canada's biggest cluster of innovation zones and creative labs right here, right in the downtown. Union Park, right here, with a revitalized convention center, a 5-acre park built over the tracks. You call it Rail Deck Park. I said a revitalized convention center, a park built over the rail tracks. Think biomed, tech, academia, finance, corporate, all together. Okay, it's not going to be easy, but with our partnership with OneEleven, we're going to keep moving forward with what we believe is one of the most ambitious and exciting city building opportunities ever. This idea's time has come. Union Park is for Toronto, and Toronto's time is now. So I started by crediting Bilal and his team for their amazing work. And I'll end by introducing another titan of innovation, my friend John Ruffalo. John's one of these guys, he just can't help himself. He's one of these guys that forgets more brilliant ideas in a day than people like me have in a lifetime. He's the CEO of Omer's Ventures, and he's a role model for Canadian venture capital. Bilal, John, the entire OneEleven team, these are our partners for the Innovation Hub at Union Park. But I would say, in fact, everyone in this room today can be a part of this vision and this journey as we build this community, create tremendous opportunity and transformation for our city, and maybe, just maybe, dare I say, and dare I dream, perhaps change the world even just a little bit. With that, John, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Talk about difficult to follow, Michael. Thank you very much. You know, I don't know if people could just imagine what this whole area is going to be. This is going to be the greatest reshaping of the city of Toronto in our living history. It's going to happen right here, and it's based on innovation. Like, can you imagine that? Like, it's funny, and Brad, I forgot that meeting that we had. I came to Brad only 7-8 years ago, and we were talking about how horrible the tech community was, how the fact that we have all these brilliant startups, they had no money, they had no place to be, there was no clustering. So I went to Brad and say, how can we fix this? And both of us kind of looked at each other going, I don't know. And I left pretty depressed as well too. But there's one thing that I did do. I grabbed Bilal, who was in the meeting, listening, and I thought, this smart guy can help us figure out how to do this. And you know, the great lesson, you know, now it's been 7 years since, you know, the germ of the idea. This idea of changing Toronto, changing the world, it doesn't happen through organizations, it happens through individuals. So through this journey, the great learning lesson for me is it was a very small number of people who basically on faith decided that this needed to be done. So Tom Core, the CEO of Ontario Centres of Excellence, he was the first guy to write a check to say, I really don't know what you're doing, but I guess it sounds kind of cool. Here's some money. Then comes Mohamed Laklemi from Ryerson, the CEO of Ryerson. They gave us a check before they had an agreement. If you remember, we didn't know how to cash the check, and we had to figure out what to do. And again, it was Ryerson saying, I really like what you're doing. I have no idea with what you're doing, but it sounds cool, and let's be a partner. We had Brad, who came in, and the first guy that we asked from the Ontario government, what do we do? John Tory, every time we kept on seeing him, he has been the Chief Marketing Officer of Toronto. John, for those of you who are not following his travels, you were in India, Silicon Valley, New York, you're everywhere, and he keeps on driving home that we are the center of innovation, and it's no accident that people around the world are still, finally now believing that. And then earlier, Bilal had mentioned, for those of you that were here, we had Justin Trudeau, who's becoming the CMO for Canada on innovation. And again, it's unbelievable that we finally have a prime minister that actually gets that innovation and not pulling crap out of the ground and selling it overseas is the way to the future prosperity of this country. And then lastly, the two people that really took an extremely vague concept that none of us actually knew what the hell we were doing, and like in the total startup mentality, Bilal and Haroon took this idea and have built the seedling of what will be the greatest innovation city, not in Canada, but in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. I can honestly say without the passion and commitment and apparently blind faith of our board, we would not be here celebrating tonight. So thank you so much. Now please join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Neil McLaughlin, Group Head, Personal and Commercial Banking for RBC.
So, hard act to follow, John. I guess I just wanted to start my comments with just a huge congratulations to Bilal. First time Bilal and I met each other, we were doing a joint panel down in Niagara at the Ontario Economic Summit. And I'm thinking back to that time, 15,000 square feet, and here we are today, you know, with a vision for 250,000. So just an enormous vision and a huge leadership and a huge congratulations. John, whose sister I got to work with and for many, many years, and John made a mention of this being an old RBC barn, and there's a number of things that sort of connect me back to this space. So he's mentioned we're really proud at RBC to be part of the OneEleven journey, but this used to be our space, and it was a legacy technology space, and we actually had one of our employees say that he used to be working in the corner here in the server room, and I don't know if he was punching cards or feeding tapes or what he was doing, but there is a connection with RBC very much to this area of town. And the mention in terms of the innovation hub and just revitalizing this end of the city, again, that has a real connection for many of us. A large group of us in the room, we spent 10 or 12 years working right across the street, and it did feel like a place that could use a lot more energy, and it's an exciting vision. But I guess the thing we wanted to convey most is that, you know, at RBC, we do believe that the whole thing we're here to celebrate today in terms of, you know, having companies that are going to come in with a great idea, that they're going to scale up, it is one of the, you know, it's one of the drivers of Canada's economy, and we're really proud to be part of celebrating this tremendous milestone. And frankly, it couldn't come at a better time. You know, put short, you know, Canada needs more companies with great ideas who have the courage to really scale up. It's been talked about a lot, and with this type of project, we're really sort of giving, you know, those types of entrepreneurs the ability to do it. And I would say, you know, not only is waiting for you know, John mentioned waiting for innovation or thinking about, you know, is this an option? It's not an option. This is something we have to do, and we have to continue to tell the story, and it's great to hear the comments today. So at RBC, we believe that we do have a responsibility to really support innovation and invest for innovation, and I think what we'd say is not only do we have, you know, responsibility, we have a business case. It's a business case not just for our company, but it's a business case for Canada. It's a good thing to do for Canada. And so when we think about, you know, how we think about innovation, we know that we can't rest on our laurels. We talk to our customers, they can't rest on theirs either. And it's one of those focuses around innovation and recreation that we're really proud to say we're here today to announce our multi-year investment and our collaboration with Bilal and the team to support OneEleven. And we're thrilled to do it. It's been a fantastic partnership, and Gabriel Wu, I don't know where I saw Gabriel earlier, you know, early on connecting us and just being part of the ecosystem. So innovation is core to how we think about, you know, how we support customers. You know, we've talked publicly, we're on a journey to build a digitally enabled relationship bank. It's what I spend, you know, most of my week really thinking about. And it's, you know, surrounding ourselves with creative thinkers, with innovators to make sure we're delivering for our customers, that we don't fall behind. We're always keeping a lens far out on the horizon and not focused just in front of us. And that's clearly the vision of the folks you've got here. And I was mentioning to Bilal, it's great. We actually had a meeting just last week with one of the folks here at unbeknownst. I didn't even know they were here. So a number of ways that we connect. And the last thing, just to close, you know, we really believe that the tech ecosystem is part of Canada's DNA. It's one of the ways Canada is going to be successful. And I think if there's one sort of thought that we're all probably having that I'll close with is, I, for one, and I'm sure we can all agree, I can't wait to see the ideas and the entrepreneurs that are going to come out of OneEleven. So thanks for letting us join, and we're looking forward to the journey.
Thank you, Neil. We are so very excited to be working with RBC. So to help us close out the evening, or the speaking portion, the formal portion, there's still lots of partying to go, I'd like to introduce two OneEleven community members and incredibly smart guys. They are former executives and founders of Eloqua. Paul Tashima and Steve Woods co-founded Nudge.ai in 2014. Nudge.ai uses artificial intelligence to provide sales teams with actionable insights on their target customers, and they're located just down the hall, so please feel free to go have a visit. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Paul and Steve from Nudge.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Bilal and Haroon, for having us. Thank you so much. We joined OneEleven back in, I think it was like May 2014. So, and has had an incredible partnership with them for almost 2.5 years. I can't believe it. Don't kick us out just yet, please. But I think that for us, when we joined, so many people came to us and said, why are you joining an accelerator? You guys are experienced entrepreneurs. You can do it on your own. Like, why are you doing that? And what I said to them was, because we're second-time entrepreneurs, we know we can't do it on our own. Steve and I both believe that it really takes a village to raise a startup, and OneEleven has been our village for the last 2.5 years, so thank you so much for doing that. There are a couple things we've learned since we've been here. I think one of the first is the power of many. When you're in a startup and you're working alone in the office, and maybe you're 8 or 10 people, there are a lot of ups and downs. It's a roller coaster ride. And when you're all up together, but when you're down, you're all down together. In this common space, you get to work off the energy of the other startups as they go through that roller coaster ride as well. And it's very helpful to keep you motivated day in, day out. I think the second thing is one of the most important aspects, most important assets of an entrepreneur is time. And so you're always looking for ways to extend time, save time. And I can't tell you how much time is saved by having the incredible team of OneEleven back us every day on operations, whether it is the Wi-Fi, the phones, the events. I still may have to do Steve's expenses, but I don't have to fix the printer. So that's really good for me. And I think the last thing for us is that we've really learned that it is the people and the relationships you build that ultimately will make your startup successful. And so this idea that your network truly is your net worth. And one of the most important relationships that was brokered for us through Bilal and the OneEleven team was with the Omer's Ventures team. And it was getting to meet Meg and Jim and John and Brian over 1.5 years and building a really trusted relationship that ultimately led us to work with them on a partnership last year and take institutional financing. So thank you so much again for that.
So the dark part of the story that I'll just introduce, though, is as first-time entrepreneurs, we were exactly what Mayor Tory and John that you strongly dislike. We started a company in Toronto. We eventually made it into an American company. We took it public on an American exchange. We sold it to an American parent. Exactly what we don't want Canadians to do. So coming into round two, there were a couple of things going through our head. One, is Canada ready for us to do something again? And two, when you've done one venture, the thing you want to do the second time is make a big bet. You want to make a dent in the universe, as Steve Jobs said. And so looking at Nudge and tackling AI for the sales space, we knew it was going to be a big bet. We were going to need the best technologists, the best practitioners of AI. We were going to need a community who could challenge us on go-to-market strategies, on technology strategies, on HR strategies. We knew that we would need funding partners that could look at this and say, yeah, this isn't a little tiny app. This is a big bet. We're behind you, and we're behind you the whole way. And it was refreshing to come back into the Toronto scene after starting Eloqua in what was essentially a bit of a desert back in 2000, coming into the scene again in 2014 and seeing that was all there. The community was there, the support was there, the funding was there, the political backing for entrepreneurship was there, and Toronto and Canada was ready to make a major bet. So very proud to be second-time entrepreneurs and very proud to be second-time entrepreneurs in Canada. And thank you for making it possible to make that big bet.
All right, folks. Thank you, Paul and Steve. That officially brings our formal portion of the event to a close. So on behalf of the entire OneEleven team, we're very tired and we're very happy that you're here. And we just want to say thank you for joining us to really kick things off with a huge bang. We invite you to stick around, enjoy the space, feel free to wander and explore. There's lots of comfortable and fun little nooks and crannies. And that's it. Thanks for coming.